So, have you ever seen the movie City Slickers? It's back from 1991. There's a character in there called Curly. He's one of the cowboys. If you haven't seen it or you don't remember, it's basically City Slickers, a group of guys are going to like a dude ranch to get out of the city and tough it out and learn how to be a cowboy. Anyhow, Curly has no sense of humor with these guys, and he has this one scene in there where he raises his finger up, and he, they said, "What's with the finger?" He says, "It's one thing." He never explains what it is, but it's something that recurs in my head about one thing. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is one thing, and that one thing is doing one thing at a time, one step at a time, things like that. And I'll tell you why it's so important. Let me give you the meat first, and I'll give you a story afterwards. I'll reverse things today. A lot of people, a lot of us, and when I say us, I'm just as guilty as anyone else, especially those of us who have a bit of an ADHD situation going on, also have a very linear engineering style type brain, do this. We want to, whatever project we're working on, we want to have everything laid out. We want to have the recipe, what everything we need. Well, life's not like that. So if you're starting a new venture, whether it's a new business, going to school, whatever, a lot of times you want to lay everything out, and this is the order I do things. But life can throw you a curveball. So one of the things I do for myself, I try, and that I suggest for clients and for you, is that do one thing at a time. What is it? Kiyosaki says, focus, follow one course until successful. Really try to avoid giving in to the shiny object syndrome, meaning that this isn't working too good. I'm going to go take another seminar and try to do that as a career or a job or a business. So we never finish. Or some people will just keep getting education over and over again. They do the same thing, which ends up being nothing, and just getting education over and over again. So this is what I propose, is that we do one thing at a time. So whatever you're working on, whether it's parts for working towards your goal, weight loss, whatever, new business, going back to school, focus where you are. What task, what step are you on? What are you working on? Focus on that. And as you get close to completion, or when you complete that, then look at what is next. Because here's the thing. Experience, life will give you things that sometimes come out of order, or you think is out of order, but it's the next thing you need to do. So instead of thinking, if you're on step one, let's go to step two. And sometimes step two doesn't matter because you accomplished it when you're doing step one. Not intentionally, but you accomplished it. So you go to step three. A lot of people will be at step one and thinking about and getting ready for step 12. Things get out of order. You get overwhelmed. You get tired. You want to give up. One step at a time. So as you're working towards your goal, working on your business, working on your education, your career, whatever, focus on one thing at a time, because what happens is if we don't, we get overwhelmed, we do things improperly, we don't finish, we give it a half-assed effort, whatever. So here, I want to give you an example of something in my life that works like that. And this was a long time ago. This is when my wife and I were still young marrieds. Were we married yet? I don't know if we were married or just dating. But anyhow, she was picking up one of my hobbies, which was skiing, snow skiing. And if you know my wife, she's pretty badass, pretty hardcore. And she's a quick study. She learns things fairly quickly. But like every human being, we all have the fear factor, right? So she was taking lessons, and we would go up and practice, and she was sticking to the bunny slopes. And if you don't know anything about skiing, the bunny slopes are like the beginner slopes. They don't really have much of a slope. Sometimes on some parts of the bunny slope, you have to push yourself downhill because there's not much of a slope to keep you going. Well, anyhow, she's gotten to the point where I thought she's graduated to the next level. So, we were skiing on the longer bunny slopes, going up the lift, coming down, and I said, I think you're ready for the next step. And so, and I'm trying to remember where this was. I think it was Crystal Mountain in not Arizona, Washington State, real close to Mount Rainier, if you're familiar with the geography up there. And we're going up on a lift, and I pointed to this one run. It was a very wide, not your typical run that, is surrounded by trees. This is a wide open area. And yeah, it was more steep than what she's used to. And the thing about looking at things from a distance, your perspective can get off. And so she thought it was like a black diamond, an advanced one, and it wasn't. And I try to keep her calm. We're going to be okay. And she says, that's what I'm going down? I said, yeah, you're going to make it. It's not a big deal. It's just one little run. And it was. It was not that long, but it was a very smooth, consistent run. Not a lot of traffic from other skiers. So I figured, she's pretty safe. And even if she fell down, she's not going to go very far because it's not that steep and there's no moguls, there's no boulders or anything around. So we got up to the top, we got off the lift. Got to the top of that run. She's looking down and she's looking at me like, are you out of your mind? I said, no, this is what we're going to do. You're going to leave here, go down a little bit and turn right away. Whatever direction you want to do, just turn and stop. If you know anything about skis, how the brakes work on those is you just turn your skis perpendicular to the fall line, which is if you are falling or if you're throwing a snowball down the hill, that's the fall line is wherever it goes. Gravity pulls you down that direction. So we're going to turn, and then we're going to talk, and then you're going to turn again, and we're going to talk. And if you wipe out and if you fall, I'll help you get up, and I'll ski down and walk back up with your skis. They're not going to go very far because it's not that steep. So this is what happened, is that she went down, did a turn. I skied up next to her, gave her some feedback on her form, whatever. And I said, are you ready for the next one? And she's looking around. I said, which path are you going to take? And it was easy because there wasn't any hazards around, so you could do whatever you wanted. So she did another turn, and we did another turn, and another turn. And it took a while, probably about 20 minutes to get down that little run because we kept stopping, we kept talking, and she got a little more confident. I said, if you want, you can do two if you like, and I don't remember if you did two at a time at that time or not. Then we got down to the bottom. I said, don't look up the hill, just look down to your next turn, where you're going. Don't look at the bottom of the hill, just your next turn. We got to the bottom, got out to the flat area, and I said, turn around and look up. This is what you just came down. You did this. And she looked up and she goes, I skied that? I said, yeah. Well, like I said, she's a quick study. So I don't remember if we did it again that day or the next weekend, but it wasn't pretty long after that. She started connecting turns, and within weeks, she was pretty much keeping up with me on most of the runs. So why did I do it like that? Because I wanted to give her the confidence. She was using all the skills she already had. She was just in a new environment, a new situation, but doing things one at a time. Instead of looking at the mountain up and down and seeing that you've got all this area you have to ski, we're doing one turn at a time, one step at a time, and made it and chunked it up. So it was in small bite-sized turns, I guess, part of what you're doing. So instead of thinking about going all the way down to the bottom, I got to ski this hill, we're doing one at a time. Same thing with other things in your life. Break it up. When you've got a project and it's it's going to take longer than you have time for in that day or that up period you allotted, chunk it up. Break it down into small, edible, or reasonable bits so that you can be successful at it. Sometimes when we think about the big picture, we get overwhelmed or scared off or more likely to fail because we got too much up here that we're trying to process. And instead of doing that, let's just focus on what's here and now and in front of us, that task, get that done. So even if it's part of a task, like turning on skis, one turn at a time, as opposed to skiing all the way down the hill. So same thing with your calendar. You know, people talk about time blocking. So you get on your calendar, instead of today I'm going to, like these videos that I do, today I'm going to do everything for this video. You know, it's there's different parts to it. We have to come up with the idea. The idea, like this one, came up in the middle of the night and I almost forgot it. I usually write things down when they come into my head, all the details I can, so I can get back to sleep, number one. And number two, I don't forget. This one, the next day when I woke up, I went, I had a great idea last night, but I don't remember what it was. During the day, it came back to me. But here's the thing, is getting ready for this video, doing the research, trying to remember things that are examples of it, and how to break it down in ways to where people can consume it and do something with it. You know, it's all parts. But sometimes, you know, we have busy days. Sometimes I can just have enough time to write down the idea, and hopefully I wrote down enough so I remember later what I was talking about. Because days later, a lot of stuff goes on, right? So time blocking, what you want to do is, if you're doing, say like this video, set some time aside. Okay, I'm at noon today, I'm going to be available. I'm done with this other project I'm working on. So today at noon, I give myself an hour to work on this, whether it's writing down bullet points for ideas so I don't forget anything, or a script, what kind of things I need to research if it's real technical, things like that. And then within that hour, what do I think is reasonable for this project? And that's what I'm going to focus on. You know, I may sit down, if I get other ideas, I'll make notes. So the next time I have a time blocked out for this purpose, I work on that next. As opposed to, like, it's Saturday, I got nothing going on, I'm going to work on a video. Well, guess what happens on Saturday? People call, they want to go do things with you. You got chores to do, and next thing you know, it's dinner time and you didn't work on it. So, but sometimes small, bite-sized chunks of time or process will get you a lot farther than if you try to get it all done in one day. So let's recap. One thing at a time. Whatever you're working on for your goal, whether it's like weight loss, okay, what am I doing today? I want to go to the gym for an hour or a half hour, or I'm going to go shopping and make sure I shop for things that are good for me, that'll help me lose weight and improve my health, as opposed to just going without a list and just impulse buying, and you know, you get home and you got a half of a basket full of candy bars and ice cream, things like that. One thing at a time. So when you get close to completion on that one thing, what's the next step? Don't think past the next step. It'll help with your stress. It'll help with your anxiety. You're more likely to be successful because you'll complete that one thing instead of having all the other stuff you think you have to get done for this goal or task or project or starting a business, whatever you want to do. All right? So remember, if you haven't watched it in a long time, or you've never watched City Slickers, go rent it, go watch it. It's funny, it's a comedy. But you'll see that and then you'll remember this video. So one thing at a time, all right? This is Donald Henderson, coach. Well, let's see here. Since I said coach, there's one other thing I wanted to talk about. That's why we have teachers, we have coaches, we have mentors, things like that, is to help us stay on track. And you get good feedback. So like, you know, skiing, you know, whether it's your spouse or whether it's a teacher to help you learn to ski or whatever you want to start learning to do, to perfect, to get good at, having another person there to give you instant feedback is really good. I remember when I first started skiing, a friend of mine was helping me learn to ski, and we had walkie-talkies back when they had headsets. And as I was going down the hill, he was following me and he's going, okay, Don, put your weight over here a little bit more, or do this, speed up, slow down. And that instant feedback that you don't get because you're too busy trying not to fall, you don't learn it as quickly, and that was really helpful. So anyhow, whatever you're trying to do, if you're learning something new, make sure you get some professional help or someone who is more knowledgeable than you are in that area. So that was all I wanted to say, is that It's good to have someone there. Anyhow, Coach Donald Henderson here. I hope this was helpful. Remember, just one thing. See you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.